Seasons, greetings, and happy holidays. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for another episode of Twas the Kit Before Christmas. We are back onto the Hurricane Mark I by Airfix, and today we're really going to get in there and put some paint and glue to plastic. We've got our flesh cuts, we've got our glue, we've got our jeweler files, we have all of our X-Acto blades. We are ready to go ahead and start assembly. So let's grab the instructions and get going. Now, like most kits, we're going to go ahead and start off in the cockpit. We're going to build up the seat. We're going to build up the armor plate. We're going to build up the front and rear bulkheads there for the wheel bay. Then we're going to glue on all the tubular structural detailing of the cockpit, glue that all together, get the floor plate in there, get the rudder pedals in there, and then we're going to just move on through the entire section, get everything dialed in and ready to go. Let's grab our flesh cuts, our glue. Let's get to building, see what we can do. All right, everybody, so we are back, and so far so good. We have our cockpit more or less built up in its basic form. We also added in a little bit of extra detailing there in the wheelbase. Just added a piece of solder wire to go ahead and give it a bit more interest. Now, though, we're going to go ahead and move over to priming and painting. Now, for the coloring, I've seen a lot of references say that the tubular portions of the cockpit would have been in aluminum, and the rest of it would have been in that RAF cockpit green. So for the cockpit green, we're going to be using MRP acrylic, and for the aluminum portions, we're going to be using some Vallejo aluminum. Drop that into our airbrush, shoot that, should be fine. Now, of course, to prime, we're going to hit that first with Mr. Surfacer. We've got that diluted with our Mr. Leveling Thinner, so we should be decent to go ahead and prime everything, get everything painted, and then we can go ahead and add in some seat belts. If I found some in the spares box, we can use those, and then we can glue it into the lower portion of the wing, and then eventually glue in the upper surfaces as well. So let's go ahead and get back into the time lapse, push on, it's coming together. So far, a great model for sure. All right, everybody. So we've got the cockpit glued into the lower portion of the wing. We've got all of that painted. We've got all of it weathered with a little bit of Tamiya panel liner just to give it a bit more contrast. We've got the tops of the wings glued on, and even though I have a little bit of a step in the left wing, everything else seems to be perfectly good to go ahead and sand and get ready. I am going to go ahead and drill out the gun ports though, just to make them look a little bit meaner. I've got my PCB drill bit here. We're just going to go ahead, drill these out, make them nice and clean, give them a bit more depth. I'll go ahead and drop a little bit of Tamiya extra thin in each one of them to soften out the openings, and we can move on to the next step, which should be installing the fuselage. I will say though that I had a little bit of some issue with the left wing installation, and I think what it was, the tubular structure there in the cockpit was a little off. It wasn't a perfect 90-degree angle, so that ended up throwing off the wing spacing, and then I had to take a rasp and actually just shred down the top of those structural detailing, just so I can get the wing to go ahead and attach where it was supposed to. Unfortunately, I still wasn't able to get it exactly perfect, so we do have to come in and take care of a little bit of a lip there on the leading edge of the left wing. Not a big deal, but when you start adding in all these extra parts and things, sometimes they're a little out of whack. The whole thing gets kind of skewed, right? So it is what it is. We've got everything in there though. It looks great. I like the detail. It's an awesome looking model so far. Paint's gone on great. Primer's been awesome. We are looking the part for sure. I also went ahead and took the time to put on our decals for the instrument panel, and I actually used a silicone tipped brush to go ahead and position them where they needed to go. Applied some microset and microsol. We are ready to rock. We're going to glue that in and get on with the rest of the wing installation. Then we can fix up some seams, and this thing should be looking pretty snazzy. All right, let's push on. Hey guys, so I just want to make a real quick pause here and talk a little bit about some sink marks. Joe actually alerted me to these, and these are on the very tail, and as you can see here, there are some definite prominent sink marks we're going to have to fill. So we're going to come in with some super glue, we're going to accelerate that, and we're going to go ahead and take care of sanding those down and hopefully fill them in. Everything else though is going wonderfully well, so let's just jump back on in, continue our seam work. After a little bit of time here on the bench, we have our Hurricane, well, looking like a Hurricane. So far, the part fit has been excellent. We went ahead and plugged in the rudder and of course the rear tailplanes. There's a little bit of a gap here we need to take care of and a bit of a step with this plug that goes ahead and keeps everything nicely tucked in. That needs to be sanded down and fixed up just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get that next episode. Other than that, those tailplanes almost snapped into place. Very impressive. We do have to come in and do a little bit of filler just to go ahead and minimize one of the seams, but otherwise we're looking the part. The rest of the seams so far have been very manageable. I haven't had any real issue except for the left wing, which I had to do a little bit more work on, but most of the seams have been beautiful. The front cowling insert had a little bit of a seam as well, but again, one swipe with Mr. Surfacer 500. Wipe over that with a little bit of nail polish remover, no problem whatsoever, minimal sanding, so that's awesome. We did go ahead and also install the lower radiator tub. We've got that in there. We added in one little bit of a support right in the center there. I saw that in my references, so I added that with stretched sprue. We have a little bit of a step there. I want to go ahead and sand that down just to make sure that we have everything tapered in. And yeah, I think honestly, next episode we should be ready for priming. I should mention though, I did have a little bit of a gap right here on the top of the cowling. There was a space right there I had to backfill with some super glue. No big deal really. Went ahead and took a couple passes over it, backfilled it a little bit more, sanded it down. It's smooth, so we won't really know till we actually primer coat it, but so far it feels like it's gone, which is great. Did a little bit of rescribing up there too. But other than that, I haven't had any issues really with the kit. Everything has been going together beautifully well and it looks awesome. So that means on next episode, we're going to go ahead and get into the last little bits of the radiator, fill in the back flap and all that, take care of some of the sanding, go ahead and get on to the cockpit canopy, mask that off, do a little bit of painting, glue it down, and then we'll be able to jump in hopefully to landing gears, and then we can go ahead and get to priming and painting. So until our next episode, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go check out Joe's build. His build is looking awesome. Till then, guys, you know the drill. Get out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 3 for 'Twas the Kit Before Christmas and more of our Hawker Hurricane. Season's greetings and happy holidays, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.